Hello everyone, welcome subscribers, welcome followers. Okay, so I'm rather melancholic today, so a time of anxiety, a time of uncertainty that we're living through, an in-between time. In between what? I don't know about you, but I feel as if I'm being assaulted from just about all quarters. Wars all around us. It looks as if they're going to be more. I feel almost overwhelmed by, I feel as if I am the subject of a continuous assault myself. Don't know whether you feel this. In society, in the culture, in the West, in the Western countries. I do not think they feel the same in the rest of the world. But I do think we feel it here in the Western countries, so-called the collective West, or whatever it is that it is called now. So there is violence in war. There is another kind of violence. Violence is not only physical, is it? It can also be psychological, inflicted psychologically. And I think that is what a lot of us are feeling. We are feeling as if we are under assault. All the things that we were used to, our culture, our values, our morals, our everything, seems to be under assault. And this is having an effect on our self-confidence, I think. I feel as if I am continuously intimidated into doing something or thinking something or saying something that I don't agree with or believe in. And I cannot do that. So there is a confusion, an inability to react, unable to react. Because I think practically everything is under attack. Is not only the sacred or the transcendent, it's also the intimate, the family, the values, the culture, the morals, the sacred. And I don't really know what I can do about it. But still there is something in me that says, well, whatever you can do, you must do something to stop this assault, this onslaught, really. The changes have happened so quickly, so swiftly, that there has not been time to adapt. Not that I would want to adapt to what they are putting out there, but it has been too swift. It doesn't help, but of course this has happened before, these changes in society, these interremnants, they used to call them. These in-between times, when it was as if the whole world and the world that you knew was almost suddenly turned upside down, perhaps not so suddenly, because it takes a long time to make these changes, but certainly you were not looking, you were not aware, and all of a sudden you're confronted with a new reality, a new situation. And my concern is that not knowing how to react or what to do about it, or unable to do it or prohibited from doing it, we feel alone, not knowing what to do, in which direction to turn. There is, I'll tell you a story. There is a lovely, talking about these changes that have happened before, when the world that we lived in was turned upside down and we had to readjust tremendously. In the 1870s in France, you had the communes, the commune, yeah. And this was a reaction to, imagine, so many years ago, between the 1840s and the 1870s. And people were reacting also at that time about the losing the old world as they knew it. The new world with the technology or the machines and all that was coming forth. But they also felt the loss of the world they knew. And their reaction, some of them reacted by going, because what they felt especially was the breakdown of the community life in the small villages at the time. And their reaction was to go back and form communes of people. From there, the word communists. Yeah, although the communists afterwards took a completely different direction, but that was the original idea, the people who lived in these communes. And they were also lost, and they reacted with a certain idealistic, nostalgic way, many of them, of looking back. They couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't do anything about the development of what was happening. But they look back with love and sorrow and sort of a nostalgic thing about the past, and when they used to live in the villages and how happy they were at harvest time. There is a lovely song in French, Temps de Cerises, the time of the cherry bloom, I suppose. And they talk about the time, how happy they were in that lost world at harvest time, and the cherries and the pretty young girls in pretty frocks looking at the young men and flirting a little bit and putting the cherries as earrings. Actually, I remember that. You remember, if you're my age, the cherries, the two cherries, and you put them there as I used to when I was a child. And it's a lovely song in French, and as I said, it's called Le Temps de Cerises, the time of the cherry bloom. And it's a standard. Everyone in France knows it, and every singer has sung this song. And it's a song from the Commune of the 1870s. So you can find it in YouTube, sung by everyone from Nana Mouskouri, for example, who sang just about every song in every language. A lovely song. So this has happened before, when people feel lost in the world that they inhabited until then. We are not the first time that the first ones that happens to us in our own situation. I find that our leaders don't help. I have many videos on this because they are going in a different direction. They are not aware, or they don't want to be aware of the loneliness that all these changes are producing and the confusion. They're following other interest orders. Wait a minute. are they not supposed to represent us? Are they not supposed to work for us? But what happened is that now they have turned around and they're telling us what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do. Are they not supposed to work for us? How this come about? The members of parliament in the UK were elected on the Brexit thing, you remember, and they that is how the Conservatives got their majority, and everyone at the time when Parliament was fighting for, against Brexit, basically. And so the people voted for all these MPs who would vote yes to go ahead and do the Brexit thing, yeah? So we thought they were on the side of the people, I suppose. And now they're turning round and they're going to vote for these extreme measures about what we can say, where, how, and everything else. I don't understand it. I don't understand how this has come about. And then if we complain or if we say no, then they come for us. There is a famous saying by Edmund Burke, the one who wrote about against the French Revolution, member of Parliament from Ireland. And he said, "We whip the child until he cries, and then we whip him again some more for crying." And that is what is happening to us. They whip us into submission, and when we complain, they whip us some more, and they censure us, and they deplatform us, or whatever it is that they do. So if they are not working for us, they're working for someone else. And the point is, here is about our trust in them. What do we do? Because another quote actually from Oliver Cromwell, and this is from 1653. I wrote it down because I thought it was pertinent. He says, "The king's head was not taken off because he was king, nor the lords laid aside for being lords, but because they did not perform what was entrusted to do, what they were entrusted to do." We lost that trust in them. What do we do? But they are afraid too, those in power. I think they are afraid that we might rebel and brought each and every one of them to account. After what they've been doing, certainly since the Second World War, but we didn't know at the time. Certainly since the 90s, but we were not paying attention at the time. Certainly in the last 10 years, we began to notice how things were changing. And in the last 5, the utter corruption, thieving, deceit. I think they are afraid too, because they cannot allow us the possibility of rebelling and ask them to face accountability. I think they rather prefer World War III than actually being brought to trial for what they have done or failed to do. So we are in a period of global distrust. And Actually, when I say leaders, I don't think they are leaders as such. I think they are more managers. Leadership is different from management, isn't it? They're obviously different things. We must not confuse them. If leadership is confused with management, problems are not going to be solved. They're just simply going to be managed. And once they are managed, they are no longer problems, or you're not supposed to see them. And there is global distrust, or rather distrust of this global governance, because our nationality, our country, and therefore our culture, our morals, our values, our family, our everything, is where we are from, is where we belong, is who we are, is our home. In other words, they're taking our home away from us and living. No, you don't need a home. It says, you can just live in the city there. Oh my goodness. I have a nice quote here from John Ralston Saul. The Collapse of Globalization is a book published in 2005, well worth reading. Imagine 2005. We were not even seeing. And he already is talking about the collapse and what is coming. A great read. He says, right at the beginning, I haven't finished reading it, but civilizations, religions, languages, cultures, nations, even nation states tend to last centuries many times. But the conflict we have at the moment is that these changes have been too rapid. What we know is that in one corner of the world, the West, let's say, globalists are declaring the nation state to be a sort of a weakening phenomenon of the past, something to little by little get rid of, old school. While in other corners of the world, some nation states are actually stand fresh born, he says, with energy and ambition, and with at least a century worth of frustration to work out. And so we might get into conflict in many more ways than one. He says as for leaders, the sign of mediocre leaders is that they believe in that things will continue as they have always done. Mediocre leaders. Things will continue as they have always done, and they cannot see ahead. He asks, why do they insist on believing this? Because, he says, they compensate for their lack of talent or ethical center or intelligence or courage with the conviction that everything is inevitable. There is an inevitable force there, or circumstances at work. Or sometimes because they're just following orders, I suppose. I don't know what the future it's going to be. I don't even know what I can do about it. That's why I'm lost. Of a certain age that I won't be around to see the result of it. of all this, but my children will. And it's rather scary, actually. What we can do, I don't know. We can, in our small way, if you agree with me, or perhaps you don't, and perhaps you're perfectly happy to see things as they are and as they will continue to be. I saw that, you know, the Davos, the World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab, is that his name? His second in command, Harari, I believe his name is, who is a technic sort of person. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name or his position, but and he's the one talking about that, you know, we will have chips on our brain and chips on this and chips and it just feels as if man is wanting to become God, as it were. He actually said, he's a Jewish man, I believe, but he has a talk where he says loud and clear to Christians that the crucifixion and all that resurrection and stuff is a fairy tale or stupid thing. He actually says that. Openly attacking and disdaining my religion. Who does he think he is, this guy? And it is the arrogance of those like him that I don't know how, but we need to stop it in some way. The best way to fight pomposity is ridicule. But we don't have the gestures, the comics doing what they should be doing, attacking pomposity and arrogance. In the Roman Empire, you had, when it was obvious that it was collapsing, and when a civilization collapses, you normally see the signs in depravity, moral depravity, and it's always lust, and it's always, well, it's the same thing, money and sex. It always comes down to that, to the pleasures of the body. After you've done everything else, it ends up there. But and they had satirists laughing at them. And then you also have the idealists, the ones who hope for, or the prophets, or the artist, who would, in their way, tell people, this is the way, you know, in some way. We have neither. We have neither satirists or artists or prophets or leaders, spiritual leaders, to guide us a little bit. So there's a vacuum. We are in between times. I have no solutions, so I will end here. I just wanted to express my melancholy. Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.